Hi, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of Cognitive Recalibration. Today, we're going to continue on our MCU ranking with our top 10, and we'll get straight into it with my number 10. My number 10 is Captain America the First Avenger.
Ooh,
I think it's a pretty good movie. When I first watched it, I thought it was okay. But on rewatch, it does a lot of things really well. It introduces Captain America's just as a character, and he doesn't really change much over the movies. Like, he's always wants to do the right thing, and that they've really established that well in this movie, even before he was the super soldier. So when he's just a normal guy, they did the whole transformation thing really well. And Red Skull is also really
awesome.
He's a pretty good villain. Chris Evans, good casting. I think really good casting.
I think Chris Evans, other than Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans is just the perfect Captain America. It's like the best.
But I didn't think that after watching this movie. I think I just wasn't sold on the Captain America character, and I'll tell you when I actually was.
Well, I think I was sold on it at the same time you were sold on it. But
yeah, this movie I wasn't sold on it, and we'll get to when I was sold on it. It's
pretty high up there.
Got a fact about this movie. Apparently, Chris Evans had to be convinced 3 times to do this movie to become Captain America. He really didn't want to do it because he thought if it does well, he'll be locked into this
for ages,
for a long time, like over 10 years.
And if it doesn't do well, he did the Fantastic Four
series
and he'll get this.
Yeah, and people remember him forever for being that really bad Captain America.
Yeah.
So either way, he was kind of stuck, but he ended up doing it, and I think he's done a really good job.
I think Robert convinced him, didn't he? Robert Downey Jr.
I'm not sure who did.
I think Robert Downey Jr. gave him a call and convinced him.
Okay.
From what I've heard. Yeah.
Okay. And I've also got a trivia for this one. Let's see if you get this right. You've got pretty much, you've got 1 right so far?
I think I've done better. I don't know. The listeners will know how I've done.
Yeah. He hasn't done well. We all know it. What was the name of the group of soldiers who fought alongside Captain America in World War II?
Yeah, I know this one. Howling Commandos.
Yeah, correct. Number 9 is Age of Ultron, Avengers Age of Ultron 2015. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I like the part where all the heroes kind of go through their nightmares, or like those dream sequences.
Oh, the nightmare sequence.
Yeah.
The best one's the Iron Man one.
Yeah, well, he gets that at the start. At the very start, and then there's this sequence in the middle where all the other guys get it. Well, Hulk doesn't, because I think he just turns into the Hulk.
Rages out.
Yeah,
Thor's one's really weird.
Thor's
one's where it's like a party and like Heimdall's all drunk.
Yeah, yeah, like they kind of show the backstory of Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow.
Yeah, and hopefully they do a movie of that.
Yeah,
which they're thinking about doing.
And they don't. Well, Hawkeye doesn't get that whole mind controlling thing because in the first Avengers he already went through all of that.
What's he say again? It's like, not again or something.
Yeah, it's like I've been through the mind control thing. Yeah. So I like that scene because it shows that even though these guys are like mighty heroes, they still have insecurities. There is a human element to them as well. I liked Ultron as well. I thought it was a pretty good villain. I liked how they brought Vision into the universe.
Vision's entry scene's really cool. Well, it's funny as well. Do you know how Thor comes in with the lightning?
Yeah, there's a lot happening in that scene. Like, Captain America turns up with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and then Bruce Banner.
They all start fighting.
And then they all start fighting, and then Bruce Banner gets Scarlet Witch in a headlock. Yeah. It's like, come on, piss me off.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, Thor comes in.
Yeah,
and just that's a funny scene.
For some reason, we really enjoy that scene. Overall, I liked Avengers Age of Ultron. I thought it was a pretty good sequel. A lot of people don't like it, but
I think it's the reason, as I said, it's just too similar to Avengers 1.
They didn't do it that much different, but I think they did enough for it to be its own movie with those dream sequences. And I like the part where they hang out in Hawkeye's farmhouse.
That part's good.
Yeah.
Like when Captain America breaks the wood.
Yeah, it breaks open the wood. Yeah. And that links into Civil War as well. Apparently, Captain Marvel was meant to be in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Apparently Joss Whedon wanted Captain Marvel to feature in this movie, and the final sequence of Age of Ultron features Captain America and Black Widow overseeing a new team of Avengers made up of the Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Vision, and War Machine. And the director Joss Whedon eventually revealed that he initially planned on having Captain Marvel.
I actually did remember this. Captain America's meant to fly in from the back.
Captain Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
Make a cameo debut in this scene as well, but ultimately decided that it would be a disservice to her character. So
That would have been shit. If just at the end, randomly, without even being in the movie, she just flies in at the end.
yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't even know who she is.
Yeah.
She just turns
That
up.
would have been like, what the fuck? Who's that chick in the back?
My number 8 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes.
I think it's the best Spider-Man movie.
I agree.
I don't care.
Best Spider-Man ever.
I don't care how many people like Spider-Man 2, but I feel like this is more true to
Yeah.
Spider-Man's character as what I
don't
know
care
him.
if you like Amazing Spider-Man 2 as well. This is better.
Because I feel like this is Spider-Man. The way I know him is this high school student who's he's a nerd, but he's also likable at the same time.
We used to watch the cartoon together. That's how we knew Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And in the cartoon, he's like this.
Yeah, he's like this. And I just like how they linked into the whole MCU. The villain was also really good, Vulture.
He's one of the best villains in the MCU.
I just like the humor in this movie. Spider-Man's meant to be a very humorous character. And I feel like they missed that in the previous movies. Like, he's either...
He's so somber. In the first one,
Like, in the Tobey Maguire one, he's a bit depressed. Like, he's always just running after Mary Jane. In
the other one, he's such an idiot. He
And, like,
tries to be funny a little bit, but...
Yeah, they've tried... So in The Amazing Spider-Man, they tried to... We won't talk too much about this movies, but they tried to make him funny. But he's not funny in, like, a likable way. He's funny in, like, a really...
Like a brat.
Yeah, like a bit of a douchebag way.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that either. But in this, they got it right. They got the balance right. So he's likable, but he's funny, and overall it was a lot of lighthearted moments. But there was a underlying story, character-driven story as well, which I really liked in this movie, especially at the end where he doesn't have the suit anymore. Like he's got his onesie.
With goggles.
Yeah, and that's when he actually becomes Spider-Man. Like realizes what he needs to become Spider-Man. In terms of trivia,
yes,
not trivia. I've got a fact again. I'm not going to challenge you too much with trivia, but the principal for Spider-Man is played by the same actor, Jim Morita, who played one of the members of the Howling Commandos in Captain America: The First Avenger.
Oh yes, yeah.
And it's revealed that the principal is the grandson of that character.
Yeah, because grandsons look exactly the same as their grandfathers.
Do they?
Yeah, it's a known fact.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You don't look like our grandfather.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, so that was a little Easter egg in the movie. I liked Robert Downey Jr. in the movie, and I also liked the cameos from Chris Evans as Captain America as well.
Oh, yeah, the videos. That's pretty funny.
Number 7 is Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, yeah.
This was a great movie. I went in not expecting too much because I didn't know any of these characters, and they did a really good job of introducing all of them. And who would think that like these obscure characters are like household names now?
They're some people's favorite characters now. So,
and I liked how it was basically, I think this movie more or less started the whole, you can argue that the first Avengers started the whole comedic tone to the Marvel movies.
Well, they've had the comedic tone from the start, but this is the first one where it was like a flat out comedy.
Yeah, it's pretty much more of a comedy than anything else. And all of the characters are funny in their own way, like they have their own sense of humor. And I liked almost every character. Like I liked Star-Lord and his backstory, and I like how they set it up really well with they have a big emotional undertone with his mother. How she
Meredith. I got it.
Meredith Quill.
Meredith.
Yeah. I like Gamora's character and Groot and Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon.
Yes.
Groot was probably my favorite character in this movie.
Groot's hilarious.
I actually like the older version of Groot than any other Groot.
I liked Baby Groot, but the older version of Groot. Do you know it's not the same Groot, by the way?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's like
Groot
his
dies,
son. Yeah.
And the one now is his son.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense because it's like a seed from a tree.
Yeah.
So it's not the same tree, but they're related. So that's my number 7. I've got a fact about this movie and probably Guardians 2 as well. Apparently Vin Diesel, who does the voice of Groot, even though he
did it in like, let me guess, 30 different languages or something?
That's not the fact I was going for,
Okay.
but maybe he did that.
Yeah.
But basically, all the I am Groots, he only says I am Groot, but only James Gunn and Vin Diesel have a script where they actually know what he says
Oh,
exactly.
they know what he's saying.
So that's how Vin Diesel could put emotion into his I am Groot.
So he didn't come in and just go, I am Groot
No.
once, and they changed it. He
like they
actually
had a
did it.
translation
Yeah.
for what he's actually saying.
Yeah.
Like for every single dialogue.
He also did I am Groot in every different language. So like when they dubbed it, it was
Yeah.
actually Vin Diesel's voice in
Yeah.
everyone.
Well, it's pretty easy to just say 3 words in different
Yeah,
languages.
yeah. It'll probably take like 1 day max. Max.
And I've got a trivia question for you. What is the name of Star-Lord's ship?
Oh, it's this chick's name. Starts with M, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Milano.
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano was a 80s TV. She was like a TV character or something. And Peter Quill grew up watching her, so he names the ship the Milano after her.
My number 6. This is when it starts to get really close. It's Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yes. Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Put
I
it
thought
in
it might be higher, but I couldn't put it higher.
It's
'Cause
hard. It's hard. Yeah.
Even Guardians of the Galaxy, I really like that movie, but I couldn't put it higher. Like I knew it was going to be comedy after they announced that
Taker.
Waititi would be the director, but I didn't think it would be this much comedy. So it's basically more comedy than any other movie in the MCU.
I think it's like Guardians and this, very comedic.
I liked how they changed the whole... It's still Thor, but he's kind of evolved a bit. He's not like the Shakespearean Thor anymore. So
Yeah.
he's more like he's just an Australian
He's
guy.
kind of like, he kind of knows he's a joke a little bit.
Yeah.
He like references himself and
Yeah.
it's funny.
So I think they did that really well. Hulk's addition to the movie was really good.
And I think Hulk looks the best
In
he's
this
ever
movie.
looked in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And the whole arena battle scene between Thor and Hulk is really good as well. I always thought that Hulk was probably stronger than Thor, but
Not after this
after
one.
this movie, I think he probably isn't. I think Thor can beat Hulk.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
in the comics it's even. They never say which one's stronger. But at the moment, I think in the movies, Thor's stronger.
Got a couple of facts about this movie. So the line, I know him, he's a friend from work, was actually a line given by a child that visited the set.
Yeah.
He was part of the
Make-A-Wish
Make
Foundation, yeah.
Yeah, and they thought that would be really funny to put in the movie.
It's a funny line. It's one of the
Yeah.
best ones.
So it made it to the trailer and obviously the final version of the movie as well. And the other fact I had was Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno, the
Ferrigno.
original Hulk.
Yeah, so he did the voice of Hulk for all the movies except this one.
Yeah.
Because
Because
he didn't
Mark Ruffalo did it for this one.
he didn't do it in this one because Hulk talks more in this one, and they thought they probably should use Mark Ruffalo.
So in Avengers, I think they used a mixture of Lou Ferrigno's voice and Mark Ruffalo's voice. It's like a weird mixture of it.
Yeah.
And then before that, it used to just be Lou Ferrigno's voice.
Yeah. So he played the Hulk in the 70s
TV.
TV show.
He has a cameo in the Incredible Hulk
as well as a
Yeah.
security guard. So that's my number 6, and now you're 10-6.
10-6. I've got some ones that you haven't even said yet in here. But number 10, I've got Ant-Man.
Okay, so that makes it 10.
Yeah,
Alright.
it made my top 10. I've only seen Ant-Man once, I think, which is shocking, but I've never got back to seeing it again. But I'm really looking forward to seeing it again before I watch the second one. And I remember when I watched it, it was hilarious. It's another one that's a flat-out comedy in the MCU. They probably don't use the Ant-Man powers as well as they could have. It could have been better showing what he can do. But I really like Paul Rudd. I like... What's Hank Pym's... What's his...
Michael Douglas?
Yeah, Michael Douglas is really good. In the first scene when they de-age him and he slams that guy's head into the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part's cool. And Michael Pena's really
Yeah.
funny in this movie. I'm looking forward to him in the sequel. Stan Lee cameo. Ant-Man.
I'm going to have to think about this one again.
The Stan Lee cameos are harder than the end credit scenes. Most of the end credit scenes you could probably get.
He is, I remember now, he doesn't even talk in this movie. He is at the very end of the movie when Michael Pena's explaining something about
Falcon's looking for Ant-Man.
Yeah, Falcon's looking for Ant-Man, and he goes through his story,
Yeah.
and one of the components of his story is Stan Lee. I think he's
Yeah,
a bartender
at
or something.
He's
Yeah.
a bartender.
Yeah.
But Michael Pena's stories in this movies are hilarious. How he just goes from nowhere to... He just has so many unnecessary elements that
Yeah.
adds to the story.
Not that dissimilar to our podcast.
Yes, exactly. Exactly the same. We're as funny as Michael Pena.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We like to think we are.
Number 9, I've got the first movie in the MCU, Iron Man.
It's this low for you. Okay.
Well, it's in the top 10. It's in the when I put it in, I'm like, geez, this is pretty low, but I'm like, I can't get you any higher. Well, this was my favorite movie for a long time, I reckon. Until Avengers came out, I guess. This was my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And Iron Man is, he's an absolute badass in this movie. This movie came out in the same year as
The
Dark Knight Rise.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, yeah.
And it was kind of overshadowed by The Dark Knight a little bit, but it's actually a really good movie. Robert Downey Jr.'s perfect casting as Iron Man. In terms of the best scenes, when he first suits up as Iron Man and goes to that war zone and he just totals everyone and no one knows what's going on. There's just these guys and he just comes through and totals all of them. He gets shot by a tank, but he still gets up and wastes the tank with one bullet. It's like when you first see how badass Iron Man is. And this movie kind of started the trend of the origin movie where the villain is basically just the same as the hero except bad. He's like a bad suit
it's got
version.
Same. Yeah, so you see it in Ant-Man, you see it in the recent Black Panther
You see
as well.
it in Black Panther, you see it in... What else was it in? Doctor Strange is kind of like that.
Yeah, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Incredible
Hulk. Yeah, so a lot of the MCU movies followed this, and it's basically just the villain's a bad version of the hero. But it's very good in this movie. I didn't really see any flaws in it. It's pretty much like one of the better movies in the MCU. Number 8, you're going to be pretty surprised at this one.
Yeah, okay.
The Avengers, the first one.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know that this was like my favorite movie for a long time.
Yeah.
I've seen this probably the most out of any MCU movie. I think I've seen it like 15 times or something.
Yeah, I watched it. It's my regular aeroplane movie.
Yeah. Well, I watched this in preparation for most Marvel movies. I've stopped watching it now. But whenever I was bored, I used to just chuck in Avengers. And it's an awesome movie. The last 45 minutes, I think, is one of my favorite just overall action scenes when everyone gets together and punches shit. And it was good to see the Avengers finally get together. Hulk is by far the best. Like we've seen the Hulk previously in this movie up till then. And Joss Whedon did a really good job getting all the characters together. There's good bands. RDJ is awesome again. Really good movie. I'm surprised it's this low. I just couldn't put it any higher. Can you... Oh, this is really easy. Both do the Stan Lee cameo. Do the Stan Lee cameo for Iron Man and Avengers.
Okay, Iron Man, he is working at a casino.
No, that's a different one.
Is that a different one?
Yeah.
I thought it was at the casino and...
No. This is... when he's not working at the casino. He sees him at the casino.
Yeah. He sees him at the... Doesn't he give him his award or something? Or is that someone else?
No,
he gives that to the statue. Yeah. Okay. No, what is it?
So he's at the casino while Tony Stark's there. And Tony Stark mistakes him for Hugh Hefner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like wearing the robe and he's got all these chicks around him.
Oh,
and he's like at like a roulette table or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And do you know the Avengers one?
Stanley, he's at the very end and he's like, superheroes in New York. And
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it. Yeah.
The end credit scenes of those ones are really memorable, so they're a bit easy.
Yeah.
Well, the first official one, Nick Fury.
Yeah, everyone remembers that.
And then Thanos. Yeah. So, they're a bit too easy. Number 7, surprisingly, Spider-Man Homecoming. Because when I first watched this movie, I actually didn't like it all that much. It probably would have sat in my bottom 10. But after watching, I actually watched it again on the flight back from Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, on a plane, which is like a shit way to watch a movie, to be honest. I really enjoyed it. It's on the second viewing, it was probably better than the first viewing. And it's very funny. Spider-Man, best he's ever been. The scene where... anything where he's talking to his suit is so funny. When the suit keeps wanting to do what is it called? It's like the kill switch or something. Yeah, the suit keeps wanting to go to kill mode. Yeah. He's like, why do you keep wanting to do kill mode? Yeah, his interaction with the suit and with everyone is hilarious. Great movie. I really want to rewatch it again as well. Number 6, one that was really low on your one. I've got Black Panther. Once again, I've only seen this once in the theaters, and I'm really looking forward to watching it again because I did enjoy it a lot. All the characters are great, and the casting's really good. Shuri's my favorite character in this movie.
Yeah. So
And
you'd watch this movie over Iron Man 1?
Yeah.
You'd watch this movie over Avengers 1?
Yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to watching it again. To be honest, I've only seen it once. I've seen Avengers 1 like 15 times, so I know it off by heart. I've seen Iron Man 1 like so many times, but I've only seen this once, so it's still got the new factor, and I do want to watch it again, and I do like all the characters, and the story's good. The villain's one of the best in the MCU. I think it goes top 3, like Loki, Thanos, and then Killmonger.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think it's as good as everyone else says it is. I think it's the highest Rotten Tomatoes rated MCU movie.
Yeah, I think comic book movie of
so
all time, yeah.
I don't think it's as good as everyone says it is.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hype behind it, but I do still like it and think it's a very good movie.
Yeah. For me, I wouldn't watch it over Iron Man or Avengers. But
how many times have you seen Black? You've only seen it once as well. No, I really want to watch it again. I like how they set up Wakanda. I think Wakanda's very interesting. Yeah. Dan Lee cameo, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, I remember this one. So he's some guy living in one of the apartments or something, and then Spider-Man he thinks someone's stealing his car, and he webs him, and then
the alarm goes off.
And then all the neighbors kind of come out, and he's one of the neighbors.
And for Black Panther, I think this might be the one you were thinking of.
Nah, I know he's in the casino in this one, as well, but
he's in the casino in the other one as well.
Yeah.
What's a Black Panther end credits scene?
There's two.
There's two. Can you name both?
So one of them is when
one of them should have just been at the end of the movie.
When he's talking to the press, like the UN or something, and he's saying he's going to open up Wakanda to the rest of the world. And the one at the very end is Bucky. Yeah. Bucky. They showed Bucky in Wakanda. Yeah.
The end credit scene, the middle end credit scene should have just been at the end of the movie, to be honest. Really good movie. I enjoy it. Surprisingly above Avengers and Iron Man. I do want to really watch it again.
So that was your number 6?
That was my number 6, yeah.
Okay.
Once we get here, I reckon my top 5 can be interchanged in basically any order.
Yeah.
And they're all... And surprisingly, none of us have said a Joe or Anthony Russo movie yet, so...
No. So,
obviously, they're the best directors. Yeah.
So number 5 is Iron Man for me. I still think this is the best origin story in the MCU. And there's not much you can say that's bad about this movie. Like, they set it up so well. I really like the scene where he goes into the war zone and he just...
When he wastes everyone. Yes.
Takes out everyone. And I like how... So they really set up the character as not very likable at the start. And then he, slowly grows on you after that. Like, when he's in that cave and he...
But he doesn't, change his personality. He's still the guy, but he's just a nicer guy now.
Yeah, he's probably not even he's just a guy that he wants to do the right thing.
Yeah, he wants to do the right thing.
Yeah,
which is how a person would change. They wouldn't just change their whole personality.
Yeah. But he's still the same arrogant guy, but his heart is in the right place.
Yeah,
Iron Man was probably my favorite Marvel superhero. It probably still is. I like him because he's still just a guy, but he uses intellect to create these
I think he's
suits.
My favorite as well. And he always has the coolest suit up scenes as well. And it started this movie. This movie has a really cool suit up scene as well.
And Robert Downey Jr. obviously
kicks ass.
Yeah. He doesn't, I don't know if he really acts as Tony Stark anymore. I think they're just the same character. I don't think they can ever replace him.
It's kind of like Iron Man is basically Robert Downey Jr.'s life. Because do you know how Robert Downey Jr. went to jail?
Yeah.
Because he got caught in DUIs and drug possession and stuff. And then he came back out and now he's sober and he's clean.
Changed and
But he's still the same guy.
Yeah.
He's basically Iron Man in real life.
So he's he's put a lot of his personal experiences into this character as well.
Yeah.
I think so it's a great movie and I'd still watch it all the time. So I was going to watch it before Infinity War as well, but I didn't get a chance. Got a trivia question for you. What is the one thing on Earth that Pepper Potts is allergic to?
Strawberries.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he gets it that's in Iron Man 2 though, isn't it? I think it's in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I think it is in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is in Iron Man 2. Phil Coulson, the unofficial Avenger.
Agent.
Yeah, Agent. Apparently he didn't even have a name. So it was just Agent Coulson.
Yeah.
And he ended up being a really popular character in this movie. So he ended up getting more movies after this. So he got Thor and then he got Avengers. And he became a much bigger character. And then obviously...
And he got his own TV show
as well.
And he's coming back for Captain Marvel.
Yes, he is, as a younger version. Yeah.
They actually make a reference to that in Avengers. Do you remember that part when Pepper calls him Phil near the start of the movie? And then
I thought his first name was Agent.
His first name was Agent.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 4 is Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yes. This is the movie that really...
it changed my opinion on Captain America. Yeah.
And I think it changed the whole MCU, really. Yeah. Because it was getting a bit stale, I guess, at that point. Not stale, but like there was a couple of...
Yeah, there was similar... Yeah. Like everything was sort of a similar tone, and this was really different. It took itself a little bit more seriously. So I liked pretty much everything about this movie. So Alexander Pierce as the bad, like he was the big bad in the end, you find out.
Hydra.
Nick Fury was good. Black Widow was also good in this movie.
Widow's
like
good.
You see a different part of her character in this movie.
You get some backstory for her as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty much as much her movie as it is Captain America's movie.
And the main part I like about this movie is all the action sequences with Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and Captain America. And you see that Captain America is not just like a strong...
He's a lot more badass in this movie.
Yeah. So he actually has strategy, and he fights...
And you see it from the first scene when he jumps onto that boat and he comes up and kicks some guy off the other side of the boat.
Yeah, and he runs through the ship. It's just running through doors and stuff.
And like chucking his shield everywhere.
Yeah.
And it gets stuck in walls and stuff and he runs and picks it up. And
so the action in this is a lot. They've amped it up a lot more. And I feel like Captain America gets like stronger with each film.
Definitely in... The first Captain America is not that strong.
Yeah, he's just... I think he's still, like, getting used to his...
Avengers is not that strong as well.
Yeah, he's, like...
But in this movie, they really...
he gets stronger. And then in Civil War, he gets even stronger. It was just a really good movie overall. I got on board with Steve Rogers after this movie, like his character.
I was surprised at the twist as well.
With the Hydra.
Yeah, Hydra is S.H.I.E.L.D. That was the surprising twist for me. I didn't see it coming.
I thought Red Skull might be in this movie. He wasn't. I guess he probably wouldn't have fit in the overall
scheme of things.
Yeah, scheme of things. So it was all about Winter Soldier and that relationship with Captain America and the Hydra.
And Bucky's good in this movie as well for the first time.
I've got facts and trivia, but I might do the trivia first. So what does S.H.I.E.L.D. stand for?
Strategic Homeland. I've got the first two right, yeah?
Yeah.
Strategic Homeland. Is it intervention or something?
Yep.
Intervention. Extraterrestrial?
No.
What's the E?
Enforcement.
Logistics Division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division. And in fact, probably a lot of people know about this, but you know how Captain America has this book where he's writing down things that he should catch up on?
Yeah.
And in every country, it's a different list.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so every I don't think it's every country, but like some countries, they've changed that list. So in Australia, we get a different list. In America, they had a different list.
It's like, I think, I remember Star Wars was on.
I think Star Wars is on all of them, but like in Australia, you have like Steve Irwin or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my number 4. Number 3 is the sequel to that movie, Captain America Civil War.
Oh, okay. You put it at 3.
Yeah, I put it 3. I was really tossing up in 3 and 2, but 3, 2, and 1 actually. They're all almost interchangeable. Civil War, ended up at 3 after a lot of thought. I thought it would be a really crowded movie because it had a lot of characters, but they did it really...
2 origin stories in the movie.
In the movie, yeah. So it's got Spider-Man and Black Panther in the movie, and I think the reason I didn't like Black Panther, the movie, as much was because he was so much better in this movie, I thought.
He's really good in Civil War.
And you see much more of his skills in this movie, whereas in his own movie, you don't see much of his action abilities. So in this, you see him taking on Bucky, and...
The suit looks better in Black Panther, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The suit is probably better in Black Panther, because he has that whole thing how, like, if you punch him...
If you punch him, he gets powered up. Yeah.
The kinetic energy, Even though it's basically Avengers 2.5...
It is.
It's still focused on Captain America, and it's basically his story. And I liked the addition of Tony Stark in this movie and their dynamic and how the whole falling out and how it leads into the rest of the MCU. And it really added more personal stakes to the movie because it had the whole thing that the Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. I thought it would end with the airport fight, but that was really not...
That's like closer to the middle, if anything.
Yeah, and then the ending was...
Captain America, Bucky, and...
Yeah, so that was much more of a personal fight, and this was more of... I think they weren't really like trying to kill each other, they were just trying to...
Oh, Iron Man was trying to kill Bucky.
No, I mean in the airport.
Oh, in the airport fight they were.
Yeah, they were just like trying to catch them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best scenes in the MCU, the airport.
I think in the airport fight, Black Panther's trying to kill Bucky.
Yeah, I think
he's the only one that wants to kill Bucky.
Yeah.
Like, he's the only one that's out there to kill people.
Yeah. And he's very, he perseveres a lot in this movie. Like, he's like...
because he gets his own ship, he flies down.
Yeah.
They did kill his dad, so fair enough.
He doesn't give up in this movie. He's like running after them all over the place. Yeah, the airport scene is one of the best scenes in the MCU. And that scene alone would have almost made me give this number one, but the two movies above it, I just would watch them more. Number two is Marvel's The Avengers. This is so high on my list because they had to get this movie right for the rest of the MCU to work. And it's set up pretty much tonally, like the humor in this movie, like it really hits. Like there's nothing that doesn't hit in this movie.
Yeah.
The humor just is on point, and that's where MCU kind of stemmed off because a lot of the movies have these lighter moments and just the way the team comes together.
So like the tone was kind of building through the whole MCU, but once Avengers became such a big hit, like that was the tone they decided to stick with for the rest. And it was a good choice because it's great to have the levity with all the Marvel characters.
They're all so the original Avengers, they're all very, very different characters. So there's Tony Stark, Captain America, Thor, the Hulk. They're all very different. And it was hard to see how they would come together. And they did that really well. And the end battle scene is one of the best.
Still probably holds up as...
Yeah, it still holds up because I watched it a couple of days ago. I watched the end battle scene again. And it holds up. Still one of the best scenes. And I like how they have... It's basically... I don't know if it's probably not a continuous shot, but the way it's edited, it's all a continuous...
Yeah, that shot is awesome. It's not a continuous shot. It's impossible to do that. But it is, that shot where they all kind of, like, it starts with Iron Man flying in and then it shows them all working together and everything. I'm hoping for that kind of a shot in the Infinity War sequel, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought we'd see it in Infinity War, but it makes sense why we didn't see it because they're all split up.
Yeah.
But hopefully we see that in the next one.
Yeah.
They did have that shot in Ultron as well, but it was
as good.
It was the very first scene in the movie, so it wasn't as impactful as this.
And the music is
the
awesome.
theme that they came up with, it's one of the best themes.
And they've kept using that.
They've kept using that afterwards. It hits in every aspect. There's emotional depth as well with Coulson dying, even though they kind of...
The TV show doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like, the TV show, for the TV show, the movies matter. But the movies do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They don't care about the TV show.
I remember watching it in the cinema. I think I watched it 3 times, and I still watch it every
I was in year 12 at the time, I remember. I think I only managed to get it once in the cinema, but afterwards I've seen it so many times.
So that's my 5 to 2, and we'll do my 1 after you do your 5 to 2.
Okay. Well, I know what your 1 is now. Number 5, Captain America Winter Soldier. So, was that the same as what you had?
That was my number 4.
You had number 4. Yeah. I was really struggling to pick number 3 to 5 could be interchangeable. Like they all could go either up or down. And I know Winter Soldier is actually a lot of people's favorite movie. And
a lot of people have it as their number 1.
Number 1. And
I guess,
I can't really fault them. It's
a really good movie. But for me, I like the team ups. I like seeing all the characters. So
this had the introduction of Falcon as well, which we didn't talk about before.
Yes.
He's a good character. And also the best scenes, for me, the best scene in this is the elevator fight scene, which is really good, where Captain America starts to see that something's not going right at S.H.I.E.L.D. and then they try and all bash him up and he basically just totals them. Yeah.
It's a great scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how this movie starts with Falcon and Captain America.
They're doing running.
They're having a run, and then he's like, on your right.
Yeah, and he laps him 50 times.
And then the end of the movie, the final shot is them together, and he's on his right again.
Yeah.
So it starts and ends with the same characters and in the same.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect, and they really set it up as his like
he's basically like the new Bucky for
yeah until Bucky
comes back.
comes back.
Yeah, and Bucky very good in this movie. They don't really go through his powers, but they don't go through it in this movie. They go through it in Civil War.
Yeah.
But he is as strong as Captain America because he got put through the same program, basically.
Oh, yeah, and in this movie, the arm chopping off scene is you see Bucky without his hand.
Without his arm,
yeah.
His metal arm's cool, as Spider-Man says in Civil War. Yeah, Bucky's one of the highlights of this movie. It wasn't really a twist for me that, the Winter Soldier's Bucky, because I knew that.
Yeah, I already knew that too.
But I guess if people didn't know the comics and stuff, they would have been surprised by that.
They might have been surprised. Or they might not have even remembered him.
Yeah. It could have gone either way. They could have been like, who's Captain America? Great movie. I love it. Number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy for me, which is one of my favorite movies in the MCU. I remember when the trailer came out and we're watching some movie, and I think we're all together, we watched it. And everyone else is like, this movie looks shit. And I'm like, nah, this movie's going to be awesome. No one believed me at the time, but then it came out and everyone loves it. And it's got some of my favorite characters in the MCU now. And also, it's got Chris Pratt in it, who I really like, from Parks and Rec and stuff as well, from his TV shows. And he's really good in this movie. James Gunn really likes the characters, the director, and he has like a personal connection to them, which is weird. But he really feels the characters and he's done really well. And this is was this the first one that was like a straight up comedy? Is that what we said?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think this was the first one. Yeah.
And yeah, after that, they've been getting more.
I think it had to be as well, because you couldn't take these characters that seriously.
Yeah, it's really good. The prison escape scene is especially good in this movie. Yeah. When they start to work as a team.
And Rocket's like, I'll get that guy's leg.
Yeah.
It's like...
that's kind of carried on. It keeps going.
He obviously likes to collect random body parts.
And in Infinity War as well, he's like, can I have your arm to Bucky?
Yeah. So obviously, if we haven't mentioned it before the podcast, this has full spoilers for every single movie.
Oops.
We should probably say that.
Trav will edit that in at the start of the podcast.
Yeah, if I remember.
Yes.
Or you might just have listened to this whole thing and be like, oh no.
Oops, sorry. But if you haven't seen Infinity War, come on, what are you doing with your life? Go watch it. Number 3, I've got Thor Ragnarok.
3.
To
be honest, I could put it anywhere up to 4 on my list. Yeah.
I was surprised that I put it at 3, but I rewatched it again before Infinity War as well. Yeah. Holds up very well. Hela's a really good villain. Yeah. I think she's underrated, frankly, because not that many people talk about her, but she's really good.
My only issue with this movie is sometimes it's a little bit too comedic, especially when there are some emotional scenes. I don't think they let you savor it long enough.
Yeah.
There's always a joke.
I know, definitely they do that. But all the jokes hit with me in this movie. And if you go into it not expecting a really serious movie and expecting a comedy, it ends up being much better for you because you enjoy it a lot more. Surprisingly, a character that I knew who he was, but really elevated this movie for me was Korg. He's hilarious.
Yes. And
he's played by Taika Waititi. And he's hilarious in this movie. Hulk's awesome. Thor's awesome. Jeff Goldblum is weird and hilarious.
Yeah.
There's this one scene where he's like playing the keyboard.
Yeah.
And he's got this band and he's really funny in this as well. And Tessa Thompson's very good as Valkyrie as well. I can't really fault it. I love it. I hope they do a 4th Thor with Taika Waititi as the director and like similar tone to this because it's one of my favorites. Number 2, this was my number 1 for a long time. Well, not a long time. It only came out 2015, I think.
So it's not Infinity War.
No, it's Captain America Civil War. So Captain America Civil War, very good movie. Basically Avengers 2.5. It's Captain America's story, but it's also Iron Man's story. It's like from basically Iron Man 3. Iron Man's like been a bit of a dick and he kind of wants to like save the universe, but every time he does something, it just ends up killing everyone or like causing a problem. So really he's his own worst enemy. And then you see his side, like they keep trying to do stuff and it keeps ending up blowing up in their face. But it's also his fault. And then you see Captain America's side where he's always trying to do the right thing. And so you see both sides of the story. It's not like, oh, it's Captain America's in the right or Iron Man's in the right.
Yeah.
It's both of them are in the right.
Yeah, you can side with either of them. Yeah.
Although I still think that Iron Man's a bit of a dick in this movie.
But that's just
well, is
him.
it just a bit of dick overall?
But that's just him.
And the airport fight scene, we said, amazing. Spider-Man's really funny.
I like the scene where Bucky tries to escape from the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters or wherever they are.
And like after the villain.
After they capture him.
Yeah.
He gets mind controlled and he's trying to leave and then fights Iron Man. And Iron Man has this like
little hand thing.
Yeah, like he puts it on his hand.
And then Bucky punches him.
Yeah. And he's got a black eye for the rest of the movie. And then he fights Black Panther. And Black Panther, yeah. And then you see Captain America.
He tries to stop the aeroplane.
The helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter. Do you know he pulled his bicep doing that scene? Yeah, that scene's really cool. The villain in this movie, also underrated.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Very good villain. He doesn't do a whole lot. Sometimes his plan is a bit, how did you know that would happen?
That's why the Sharon Carter theory. Apparently, like, if you... Like, it looks like a lot of things just fall into place for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you look at the Sharon Carter theory, how she was secretly working with him, it kind of makes even more sense.
It makes more sense that he knows... like Bucky and Iron Man and everyone's going to be there.
Yeah.
He's not a powerful villain. He's a smart villain.
Yeah.
Which is one of the first ones we've seen in the MCU. And once again, I hope they bring him back because he's still alive. So I hope he comes back in some form.
Cameos?
Yes. Let's do Captain America Winter Soldier cameo.
He is a security guard at the museum where they keep Captain America's World War II costume.
That's also an end credit scene, isn't it?
Bucky.
Bucky's the end credit scene.
Yeah.
He's and Captain America steals the suit.
And it's like, I'm so fired.
Yeah.
But why? The question is, why is a 90-year-old man a security guard?
He's not going to do much. Yeah, that is the Smithsonian's fault. Guardians of the Galaxy end credit scene.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah, Howard the Duck.
That was one of the most disappointing end credit scenes.
Howard the Duck is actually in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as well. Do you remember that?
Is he in the credits?
No, he's in... Do you know that weird planet that all Yondu and stuff are on? And Sylvester Stallone's there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's on that planet.
Do you see him? Oh, yeah, you see him. Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok cameo.
He is the barber...
Yes.
that cuts Thor's hair.
Thor's hair. And Captain America Civil War end credit scene.
Civil War end credit scene?
Yes.
There's two. So one of them is Spider-Man getting his wrist.
Yeah, he's got like this holographic wrist thing.
Yeah. And the other one...
This is the mid-credit scene.
The mid-credit scene is in Wakanda.
They put Bucky under,
Captain
and then
America.
it like pans away, and
you
there's
see
this
the
panther.
The panther. Yeah.
Which is not in Black Panther. Is it? Is it in Black... I've only seen it once, I can't remember.
I think it is. It's in Infinity War.
Is it in Infinity War?
I think you see it.
Okay.
Yeah. So...
Alright, we both got the same number one, though.
Both got... Do we?
Yeah, well...
Is yours Fan Four Stick?
Yes, actually. No, it's actually Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Justice League. It's intercut with both scenes. So it's like one scene's Amazing Spider-Man 2, then it cuts to a Justice League
That'll
scene.
probably be better than both those movies anyway.
It is. It's quite good. You should watch it. I made it myself. Directed by Tarun Rajapal.
Obviously, our number one is Avengers Infinity War. If you want to hear about what we think about it, watch our
We did like an hour-long review last week.
The reason it's my number one is it leads off all of these movies really well. So all these movies link into this movie. And the way it gets all the characters together, it just works really well.
After I watched it the first time, I wasn't sure if it was going to be my number one. After I watched it the second time, I was like, yeah, it still holds up. It's still great.
But this might change depending on what happens in the next movie.
Yeah, well,
because
the next one might be...
If the next one isn't good...
Yeah,
I feel like this will drop down because this really depends on the next movie as well.
Yeah, because it does feel like a two-parter.
Yeah.
So this one will depend on the next one.
It's kind of like The Force Awakens. Like I really love that movie, but then I watched Last Jedi and I don't like Force Awakens as much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll talk about Star Wars another time. I've got a lot to say about that. Yeah.
Number one is definitely it's for the moment. for me is
For the
Infinity War.
Yeah, look, my list changes all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if I watch Infinity War 5 times in the next week, it's probably not going to be the number one. I'm not going to be able to watch it that many more times.
So I've seen it twice, and you've seen it twice.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it a few more times, and
Yeah.
I do really like it. At the moment, it's probably the best movie in the MCU, and I think a lot of people would agree that it is their favorite. You got to say kudos to the Russo brothers, because they done 3 Marvel movies, and all 3 of them were in my top 5, and all 3 of them were in your top 4, wasn't it?
Yes. My top 4, yeah.
Do you want to quickly say where you think the next movies will fit in? Just a prediction.
Oh, where they'll fit in on this list?
On your list, yeah. If you were like to predict. So going up to the next Avengers.
Okay, so I think Ant-Man and the Wasp will probably be around the same as Ant-Man for me, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And Ant-Man was like number 13.
Okay, so
So
pretty low
it
down.
might be, probably won't make my top 10. Oh,
Yep.
I mean, number 10 was Captain America First Avenger for me, so...
It might get better than that. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I think Captain Marvel will be in my top 10. I think Captain Marvel will be a pretty solid origin story. So I think Captain Marvel might make my top 10. And I'm hoping that the next Avengers is going to be my number one.
That's what I'm hoping as well, that it'll be number 1. Ant-Man. Well, do you realize that the Phase 3... Well, for me, all the Phase 3 movies are basically pretty high. So Phase 3 has been really good. So I'm hoping Ant-Man and the Wasp gets into my top 10 somewhere, but probably pretty low in the top 10. Captain Marvel, I'm hoping it will be either 6 or higher. I'm hoping it will be one of the better origin stories. And Avengers, hoping it's number 1.
Yeah, number 1. Before we end up, we'll go through our full list.
Yes.
So...
You want to go first?
Yep. No, you can go first. I'll do mine.
Okay.
Since mine is the definitive.
Yeah, yours is a definitive list.
Yeah, mine is the list.
Mine's the pseudo-definitive list.
Yeah.
I've got Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 3, Captain America, the first Captain America, Thor, the first Thor, Age of Ultron, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Ant-Man, Iron Man, Avengers, Spider-Man Homecoming, Black Panther, The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, Captain America Civil War, and finally Infinity War.
And my list is Iron Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Black Panther, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, Thor, Captain America the First Avenger, Avengers Age of Ultron, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, Iron Man 1, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, The Avengers, and number 1 is Avengers Infinity War. Thanks for listening, and next week we're going to do Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2.
So,
yes.
Deadpool 2.
We might do a little bit at the start on Deadpool 1.
Yep.
And then
Deadpool 2. And if you want to reach us, we now have, you don't have to send it to the mail.
Yeah, we've got a bit more high tech now, actually.
Yeah.
So last week we got a lot of telegrams. We thought it wasn't the best way, so we made an email.
So the email is cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep. So if you have any questions or suggestions, what you want to talk about,
or you just want to tell us to stop podcasting,
if you want us to stop this horrendous thing, then send us an email and let us know.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you in a week.
See ya.
Bye.